Okay, excellent. So let's start over. Today we're talking about how to sell search engine optimization. It's an extremely lucrative thing to sell. It's fairly complex process. So this is not a no-brainer sales process. Y'all are here because you bought Alex Becker's wonderful SEO stuff, and you're here as a bonus to that. So put together how to sell with how to deliver the goods, and you've got the makings of an excellent business. Feel free to interrupt me with questions. I'll do my best at answering them. The focus of the webinar, though, is on how to sell the SEO stuff, because Alex does such a great job of delivering the how to do the SEO stuff that I'm focusing on how to make money with it. I wanted this to be kind of an informal webinar with me just kind of talking and showing you stuff and you asking questions, et cetera, et cetera. I had thought about sitting down and making a bunch of slides, but that gets kind of boring. So I essentially, before the webinar started, made some notes about what I want to cover today. Let me move my GoToWebinar pane out of the way. This is what we're going to talk about today. How to sell SEO, the importance of having proof. It used to be, back when I got started selling SEO, that you could just basically tell people, hey, I can get you ranked on the first page of Google. And an amazing number of them would actually believe that. And I think those days are pretty much over with, because there are so many businesses, there's so many individuals, there's so many small businesses, there are even so many big businesses trying to sell this stuff. And SEO, couple that with the fact that with all the changes in Google, you could easily get somebody ranked for something. You could have easily, like a year and a half ago, had a client ranked for something, and then, and this happens, it happened to me. They could wake up one morning and say, oh my God, I'm not on page one anymore. And yeah, you're not. Google changed the whole ballgame. So a business owner is not necessarily going to understand that. They just, some of them are just going to think you screwed up. So there's that issue involved. It takes quite a bit longer to deliver the service than it did back then. And a lot of business owners got burned by companies telling them they would rank them on page one, and basically all they did was do a little on-page optimization, probably very imperfect on-page optimization, and some used to do a couple of years ago, list them in some directories that no one ever visits and junk like that. And maybe they got a little movement from page 6 to page 4 and stuff like that, and maybe they didn't. But my point is, a lot of businesses have been burned, rightly or wrongly, or think they've been burned. They're much more savvy buyers of this kind of stuff than they used to be. And that leads me into my first point. You've got to have proof, okay? I mean, you really, if you want to go big with this, and going big means, I mean, you can find clients to pay you $2,000–3,000 a month, some more, to do this kind of stuff. But nobody forks over that kind of money now for SEO without truly understanding and having a deep level of trust that stuff is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, more or less. So you got to start out with having proof. Okay, if you don't have proof, I'm not going to say you're going to be wasting your time trying to sell this without proof, because I don't try to go around telling other people what's going to happen in the future, because nobody else can predict the future. Why should I be able to? But I personally, I mean, I've got proof. Okay, I got stuff I can point to that I've done for clients that's on page one, and with their permission, I can show it to other clients. Now, just while we're talking about permission, I actually get that permission in writing, because I generally end up signing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, with clients. But, like some client that I've had for a long time, I'll say, would you mind if I use that particular thing in my marketing? No, Lee, that's fine. We'll just get that written down on an email and we're good to go. And say, I'll be very careful how I use it. And I don't just, spam everybody with, hey, I rank such and such a business for such and such a keyword. I would use that when I'm actually talking to a business owner and say, look, do you feel like you need proof that I can actually do this? Yeah, Lee, actually I do feel like, well, one of my clients gave me permission to share this with you. Would you mind if we just hopped on the computer and you Googled yada, yada, yada? So that's how I use proof. But you got to have proof to do this. I personally, if I didn't have proof and I wanted to sell SEO, I would stop the selling process and go get proof. I would go make proof. There's a bunch of reasons. There are two big reasons why you need proof. I've discussed one of them. Because you need to actually tell a savvy buyer, and buyers are much more savvy than they used to be about this stuff. You need to be able to tell and show a savvy buyer, yeah, I can really do this. But also you need proof. Now the people in the webinar, you may all be SEO ninjas as far as I know. So maybe you've already got proof or you're feeling really good about your ability to do this. But sometimes when people try to sell offline services and they're a little hesitant about their ability to fulfill, they find themselves in the ethical dilemma of, am I making a promise that I can't keep? And I deeply appreciate that ethical dilemma because that's the right way to feel. As if somebody pays you a few $1,000 to do something, are you going to be able to get it done for you, right? I mean, that is a perfectly correct thing for you to wonder. So if you do have proof, then you know in your heart, yeah, I can do this. I can take that business and rank them for that keyword. I can do that. I can do that kind of SEO. I've done it. I can do it. That confidence will show itself. You don't have to try to show it. It will just show itself in all of your communications with business owners. So you need proof for two reasons. One, so that you can show your potential client, yes, I can do this. And two, so that you walk the talk, so that you actually have the confidence in what you're selling, because that just shows. There's no way to hide it when you don't have it, and there's no way to, there's no way to make it show. It just shows and it just shines through. So step number one, you've got to have proof. So if you don't have proof, my suggestion to you would be stop the presses, let's go get proof. And that may take, with SEO, we may be talking about many, many weeks, but personally, I would get proof. Who to sell to? Well, this is not like selling I was talking with one of my coaching clients, I guess we would call a coaching person a coaching student. I don't know, somebody I coach. This morning, and it's a new coaching student. I was talking to him about, he's got this couponing thing. He wants to start out by selling that. It's going to sell for about $300 a month, something like that. That's one level of selling, and that it's, sure, I mean, $300 a month is, that's a fair amount of money, but businesses are used to spending, virtually any business is used to spending money like that in order to market themselves. But what we're really looking for when we sell SEO is we're looking for the business who's going to be spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month just with us. That, this is hunting the big game. So, if you, I'm just going to mix up a ton of metaphors here. If you go fishing in a little bitty lake with a bunch of little bitty fish in it, you're not going to catch a big fish. But if you go deep sea fishing, you can catch some huge fish. So we need to make sure that some things are in place. One, you need to get a good feeling that the business has cash, that it's the kind of business that's throwing off the kind of cash that some of which is going to end up in your pocket. And there's a bunch of ways of doing that. And if you've ever been on any webinars with me about how to do this, nothing's changed. You just need to do a little research. I want to show you a couple of ways of researching this. Now, dentist is just like the proverbial, dentist to offline is like dog training to affiliate marketing. It's the proverbial go-to, show people sub-niche. And there's a reason for that, because dentists have a lot of money and it's a competitive business and they need to advertise. But one way of figuring out who's spending money is to get on sites like Yellow Pages, and see who's actually spending money to be here. And these guys are spending money to be here. Okay, so you want to target businesses like these over here that are paying for advertising. And businesses over here. You can also do this in Google. Okay, you can just Google dentists St. Louis, and you can see who's buying Google ads. You can go to kudzu and other directories. You can just generally, if you want to see how to pay and who's paying, just drop down here to the bottom, and you can usually find advertising careers, advertising. Usually there's going to, I don't really see it here. I already know who's advertising on Yellow Pages anyway. It's the ones I showed you. This page looks like a Google page where you have across the top there advertising and down the side they're paying for advertising. But on most of these sites down in here, I'm not really seeing it here because I haven't looked for it in a while. You can, there'll be a link like advertise or advertise with us or something like that, or a link suggesting various levels of exposure. You can click on that and just kind of see, you know, what does it look like when somebody advertises on a given site. And then you can target those businesses because you already know that they're paying money. Now, dentists, I mean, everybody talks about dentists, and dentists get hammered all the time for stuff like this. So I want to open up your minds to some more possible businesses, all of whom can benefit from greater search engine placement. This URL is on Super Pages. Let me show you how to get here, because this is a freaking gold mine of information. Let's go back to Super Pages homepage. Excuse me, I've been talking all day since about 9 o'clock this morning, so I'm starting to kind of go hoarse. From superpages.com, if you will come down here and if you will click on this link, popular categories, this is a completely mind-expanding list of businesses. I love this. Look at this. This is so cool. And you can click on these and you can start scoping out these businesses. So you just kind of got to put on your business hat and you got to think through what kinds of businesses could benefit from good search engine placement. Banks, maybe not so much. I mean, you know, for one thing, most of them are big corporate structures. And you know, a small business like the ones we run, they're not going to go to you, right? Bail bonds, great niche, okay? These it's highly competitive. You find the police station and the jail in any big city, and it is surrounded by tons of signs of businesses about bail bonds. Bail bonds clicks on Google AdWords in some cities. Orange County, Los Angeles. Those clicks sell for like $60 a click. You know, in other words, my point is bail bonds have that's extremely competitive. So you think to yourself, I wonder how somebody is going to get in touch with a bail bondsman when, well, it's not really when they go to jail. It's going to be when their kid goes to jail, when their boyfriend or girlfriend goes to jail for drunk driving or something stupid like that. What are you going to do? You're going to take out your phone and you're going to type in bail bonds, right? You're going to get on your browser, type in bail bonds. So search engine placement, very important for stuff like that. Lawyers get hit up all the time. Debt consolidation and debt management, those are generally fairly sleazy. I'm not talking about the business, but a lot of what you will find there is a bunch of internet marketers with like lead gen sites and stuff like that. How do I know that? Because I have a bunch of them. But, you know, you look at attorneys, especially the attorney stuff that's not so immediate because it will be a little less competition like family law. Financial planning, financial services, you know, I mean, just out of this one column here, I'm seeing a ton of stuff for the types of businesses that you could approach for search engine marketing. Health insurance is big businesses. That's not going to work. There are not all insurance agents are, like State Farm reps with their hands tied in terms of the kinds of marketing they can do. There are plenty of independent businesses like my insurance agent, where I get all of my various insurances through. It's a company owned by a guy who's owned that company for 30 years. So it's like a 5-6 employee type company. There's a bunch of those. So I'm saying expand your brain, okay? Expand your mind. Don't just go fishing in the same pond that everybody else is fishing in. There are plenty of these businesses that can really get helped by better search engine placement. Hotels. Especially if you're looking at, like, I live in Atlanta. Atlanta's about 4 hours from the Georgia coast. We like to go down to Savannah, which is a city on the Georgia coast. And basically, there are a lot of independently owned high-end hotels down there, and they're extremely competitive. And they can definitely benefit from better search engine placement. So, and I'm not going to go, obviously not going to go through all these with you or many more, but there's a bunch of stuff where businesses are paying, where the business is competitive and they're used to paying a lot of money in order to market themselves. That's where you want to hit in terms of targeting. Businesses don't normally get targeted for better search engine placement. Non-retail businesses, this is huge. By non-retail business, these are all pretty much retail businesses on super pages. In other words, they're what we call B2C businesses, business-to-consumer businesses. There's a whole world of business-to-business businesses, businesses that sell to businesses. I've got clients that are engineering firms, okay? They need better search engine placement because they are selling very competitive, very high dollar stuff to other businesses. And that is a really, really interesting world for search engine optimization because there's not a lot of SEO that gets done for those types of businesses. Let's say, okay, I got one client that came out with a new product the first part of last year, called me and said, hey, I need, instead of spending, I've forgotten how many millions of dollars he said he'd have to spend for a traditional launch of this new product, I want you to help me figure out how to use social media and also Google to launch this thing. And so we did that. We worked together over quite a long period doing that. Well, that requires, from a search engine point of view, that requires a lot of me getting into the head or really getting into the vocabulary of how, it's an engineering company, of how engineers think, how the business works, how, I'm just using this as an example of how the sale happens, okay? These types of sales are generally fairly complex. Involving multiple businesses. In this case, it was involving multiple businesses along with various local government institutions. And so you got to kind of think to yourself, well, how does the whole sale work? What's the vocabulary? And then think to yourself, well, how would these people use the internet to find out stuff? What would they be doing? And then you start actually looking for stuff online yourself because you want to figure out, well, you need to talk to your clients about, well, how do you use the internet for this? I mean, what if you were an engineer responsible for getting the ball rolling with your business buying this kind of stuff and you weren't that comfortable with the last company you worked with, or you knew that there was some better product? How would you use a search engine to start learning about this? So this takes a lot of work. This is why you get paid for so much. So you need to understand that whole semantic world, and then you take all of that and you go back to Google AdWords and Google Suggest and stuff like that, and then you start the process of figuring out what you want to rank for, how you can rank for it, et cetera, et cetera. But you're looking at thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of work right there for one company. So I want to open your mind to non-retail business, to business businesses. Now, yes, a lot of that advertising for those business happens in trade publications, but a lot of it has moved online, basically, websites, trade publications online, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of it still happens, person to person and, like conferences and stuff that these guys go to, big sales conferences where they all meet each other, et cetera. But just like everything else, the internet still impacts it. So this is huge. And like I said, this one launch, the CEO of this company in this one launch said, instead of me spending the normal several $1 million that I would have to spend to launch this product, I want to see if I can save a massive amount of money and use the internet. So you can see the power of that right there. Another type of business that you need to think about targeting are ad agencies. As you develop an SEO expertise, that's valuable if you can sell it. It's valuable. If you can't sell, it's not valuable at all. It's just yet another thing for you to know. But if you can sell, it's very valuable. But unified ad agencies, they're called unified because they do everything for the client. So a company like Target can go to a unified ad agency. Actually, there's an ad agency here in Atlanta that handles a lot of Target's online stuff, and I happen to know the guy that does all the pay-per-click for Target. Okay, so that's, that's how I kind of said, aha, this happened a few years ago. I said, oh, wow, there's a whole nother world for me to sell to. This is really cool when I got to know this guy. So that's how I learned about that business. But a unified ad agency is somebody that Target can go to. Target can go to a unified ad agency and say, I want an entire campaign. I want the whole thing. Pay-per-click, search engine optimization, I want videos, I want yada yada. I want, a new rollout, a new look and feel and all that stuff. And the unified ad agency handles that whole thing. Well, there's massive amounts of money changing hands there. Massive amounts. My buddy told me one day when he was new, working on the Target account new, he made a mistake and ended up spending over $100,000 extra of Target's money that day. He thought he was so scared. $100,000. He said, man, I was so scared. I went to see my boss. They called up their counterpart at Target and they said, don't worry about it. Just don't do it again. Massive amounts of money going on here. Now, these ad agencies, it's really interesting working for an ad agency because they want to be able to, with corporations are extremely conservative about how they do stuff. They want to be able to sell them stuff, but they're a little bit behind the times in their understanding of cutting-edge techniques. Now, they don't want anything black hat because for obvious reasons and stuff like that. So being like a subcontractor for an ad agency is cool. Okay, I do that. You can make really good money doing that. In terms of the world of search engine optimization, you can get paid for everything from just creating content to actually getting paid for, creating blog networks, et cetera, backlinking the content, yada, yada, yada. So, again, I'm trying to open your mind to other kinds of businesses that you can sell to, other than the proverbial dentist chiropractor thing. Because by non-retail, I got a few more people just landed on the call, so I'm kind of summarizing where we are. Non-retail means business-to-business businesses and ad agency businesses. There's a massive amounts of money right here. Okay, but believe me, this is massive. You're making $2 or $3 grand per client is just like, spitting in the ocean compared to the money that these corporations spend. So I hope that you open your mind to this and say, wow, I'm going to, now that you've got the information to get your SEO expertise up to a very high level, it would be cool if you would approach these kinds of businesses because they don't get approached that much, all right? Now, how to target businesses, okay? Sales cycle means your sales cycle is the amount of time on average that transpires between when you first have the initial contact between you and the business and when you get a closed deal, okay? The sales cycle with these larger businesses is naturally a little longer than the sales cycle with, let's say, a two-dentist office, all right? Because you're actually talking to the person that can make the entire decision in the two-dentist office. But with these larger businesses, you know, there's a little more, a few more levels of decision, not always, by the way. Sometimes as a subcontractor with ad agencies, you're talking to the person who's going to make the decision. But you need to be prepared to have an initial method of contact that's very professional, okay? A cold call is excellent for this. And the cold call should go down something like this. You just call up, you make a list of ad agencies. These would be the kinds of businesses that you're probably going to need until you get to where you can sell this pretty well. You're probably going to need to get in the car and go see them. Okay, go meet them, press the flesh, etc. That's the way I would start with this. But I would just call them up and ask who handles their online advertising. They're going to have that split up between a bunch of different people, but they'll help get you to the right person. And then just say, hey, I'm Lee Cole. If you have a website, I would say be happy to send you a link to my website, but I do search engine optimization for businesses like yours, and I just want to let you know that I'm here. And remember, we started out talking about proof, guys, okay, because this is not, just mom and pop restaurant here. This is big business. And if you need proof whether I can do what I say I can do or what you want to hire me to do, then I'm more than happy to provide you that. And I would just ask them, do you use other people outside of your business for this type of stuff? So a cold call would be perfect for getting in touch with these kinds of businesses. Non-retail businesses, like an engineering business or a business that sells, ball bearings to someone else. I would just call them up and say, you can look online generally and find out who the vice presidents of this and that are. I would target the vice president of marketing. Okay, when I first got into this, I had no clue as to what I was doing or how to get business. And I ended up being really successful because nobody didn't tell me not to. So I started basically using Manta, which I just tried to get on Manta a little earlier before I started the webinar and almost crashed my computer, so I'm going to let you go over there. But you can use Manta.com. And I was researching larger businesses, and I was calling the vice president of marketing. I had a blog, and with, like 5 pages on it. And I knew a lot about SEO because I've done affiliate marketing for years. And I would say, hey, my name's Lee Cole. I run this business. You can check me out at my website. But just want to let you know that if you're interested in getting some of these pages on your site ranked for some good searches that will help you out, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. And, I would call these guys, it's generally guys. I mean, there were a few females, but it was like, seemed like 70% male. I don't know why. But anyway, I'd call these people. And usually you're leaving a voicemail or something. And I did that for like a day, and I thought, well, okay, I did that. That's interesting. That might have been a big waste of time. But the next day I had all these calls back. I thought, holy smoke. This is cool. These guys actually need help. See? So these are not, I'm trying to give you a bunch of businesses that can pay you massive amounts of money that are not hit up all the time. Okay? That would be a great way for you to approach a business-to-business business. You have a website or at least some material you can send them. You cold call them. All you're doing is announcing your presence. You're here. You can help them with creating keyword optimized content, getting it ranked for searches that will help their business. Would you mind if I sent you a link to my website so you can learn more about me? You leave the cold call at that, or you're going to have a sales funnel to follow up with, okay? And again, you'll hit voicemail on most of these people. A surprising number of them will call you back. It's shocking. So, now, my preferred method for targeting the ad agency or the B2B business, let's write B2B here so we can get this in the B2B, comma, non-retail business, is a cold call followed by sending them information. Okay, it's just a very professional way that selling is done in the business world. Polite phone call, here I am, can I send you some information? Yes, you can. Follow up after that, say, hey, Mary, sent you some information about my business and what I do. So I want to make sure you got it, understand it. Want to see if you need me to help your business with anything in the future. You'll be amazed at the number of business people, the number of VP of marketing types. That's who you're targeting here, vice president of marketing. The number of them who start asking you stuff, asking you questions, because they don't get hit up all the time, okay? Most people in our world don't even know that this massive opportunity is out there. So A, they miss it. B, if they did know it, honestly, I'm not sure that they have the whatevers to call a business like that. Hopefully you do, because I'm giving you keys to the kingdom here. And again, it's professional selling to a business is a matter of professional follow-up. It's not, you know, arm twisting closes and stuff like that went out of fashion in 1964. It's just calling up, hey, I'm here, wanted to see if I can help you out. Can I send you some information? Thank you. Sent you some information. Did you get it? Listen, I took a look at your website and yada, yada, just trying to help you out here, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so it's just you intelligently insinuating yourself into their business and becoming, hopefully over a period of time, as I have become for some of the businesses that I work with, the go-to person for all things internet. Okay, I mean, at least you'll get a phone call and say, Lee, we need help with this. Sorry, I can't help you with that. I know zero about that, but I'll be happy to find an expert for you. So, you know, that's where you want to go with this. Another way of getting customers from retail type businesses, okay, so we talked about non-retail B2B businesses and ad agencies, but if you're sticking with the proverbial retail businesses, the B2C business, business to consumer business, the easiest way to sell, that I've found, to sell SEO to them is as an upsell, not as a front-end product. A smaller dental office, I mean, you know, again, we're back to the usual suspects here. A smaller dental office, chiropractor's office, even a high-end hair salon, they actually do have to spend some money for advertising. You want to do some SEO for them. And I've got clients like that. But that's probably not going to be a front-end sale. That's probably not going to be your first sale to them, because they're not used to suddenly agreeing to spend $3,000 more a month on stuff, or $1,000 a month on stuff. Okay, they're used to buying advertising, buying marketing services in much smaller packages, or they could be spending that much money, but in their heads it's already spent. So the easier way of selling SEO to those types of business, retail businesses, is as an upsell. So you sell them, like my coaching student that I was talking to this morning, you sell them the cheaper couponing portal service. You sell them the mobile website. You sell them a several $100 front-end product. You deliver the goods. It looks great. They love it. And then the way you upsell them is you do what I call an offline audit, where basically you take all of the things that you could sell them. You spend about 10 minutes snooping around the internet to see if they've already got that. If they don't have that, do they have video ranking? Do they have this? Do they have that? You know, again, referring to the kinds of things you can sell. You know, do they have any SEO? Do they have, would it benefit them to have their web page ranked? Are people actually looking for this kind of stuff? Are they actually searching for this kind of stuff using search engines or using their phones? I don't sell stuff to people when I know in my heart that it's not going to benefit them. But you just write that up in a quick report that's called an offline audit, send it to them, and say, hey, this is Lee, sold you that mobile website, a couple of weeks ago. I'm glad, got your message about how much you like it and glad it's working out for your business. Listen, I was online looking at your website and looking at some of the searches that are, happening for various things having to do with your business. I think you could get more business by doing the following, and then you just very quickly explain what you're talking about. Your business, this city, your business, your business in this city. These searches get X amount of local searches per month according to Google. If we got some stuff ranked, this is what I would say in this, essentially my offline audit, which is essentially a sales letter. If we got this stuff ranked, sometimes I'll do this with a video also instead of a PDF, but if we got this stuff ranked, you'd get more eyeballs on your website. That would result in more business for you. If you're interested in this, let me know. And again, it's another sales cycle. You follow up with that with a phone call, see if they are interested, talk to them, et cetera, et cetera. That's how to do this with what I call the offline audit method. Now, this is what I call the biggie, because you want to set yourself up for success, and you want to set up so that your client is happy, not unhappy with your services. That's kind of the bugaboo with SEO, is that it just takes longer than it used to. It just does. So what you need to do, and again, this goes back to, do you have proof? Have you ever ranked something similar to that is of the same competitiveness as the thing you're trying to rank, more or less, okay? How long did that take you to do that? Do you know how to do that? I mean, if somebody said, for real, tell me the total honest truth about how long this is going to take, would you be able to tell them? Would that be based on real experience instead of just something you read somewhere? You need to have that level of understanding of SEO today in order to manage the expectations of your clients. Because if you tell them, hey, you should be on page 1 in 3 weeks, and I should be able to get you up to the top of page 1 in about 5 weeks, that may not happen. And you can have a very, very unhappy person who paid you several $1,000s up front to make all this stuff happen, and guess what? They're on page 7, and we were talking about page 1. All you're doing is just setting yourself up for massive failure that way. Now, with the same client and the same money, you could set yourself up for incredible success just by telling the client that it's going to take, hear me on this, twice as long as it's going to take. That's what I tell clients. I mean, there's not like one number, right? It's not like it's going to take X amount of weeks for everything. I mean, you have to look at it. You have to have some sense about SEO and how it works. Again, we go back to proof. Okay. You have to have a gut level feeling for it, and then I tell the client it's going to take twice as long. I don't even say, hey, I think it's going to take X number of months, but it may be a lot less. I don't even say that. I just say it's going to take twice as long in the conversation. How long is it going to take, Lee? I say it's going to take twice as long as in my gut, in my head when I sat down at my desk and figured this out before I actually did the sales interview with the client for this. I sat there and looked at keywords and all that stuff and thought about the competition and how long other stuff had taken and stuff like that. In my head, I'm saying this should take X number of months, or this should take Y number of weeks, or whatever. When I get ready for that sales interview, I'm multiplying that number by 2, and that's what I'm telling them. This is going to take that long. Wow, that's a long time. Google's made some changes. That's how long it's going to take. Because then, when you get it done in half the time, you look like a freaking genius. Or, guess what? When Google comes along and screws things up again, you have time to react, and you don't look like you took them to the cleaners. So you must build that big safety net into your expectations. Again, you can take the same client and manage the expectations in 2 different ways. You can promise them the moon, and not be able to deliver, and you have a massively unhappy client who's going to ask for their money back and should ask for their money back. You take the same client, you tell them it's going to take twice as long as it's really going to take, and when you call them up and say, hey, Bob, you at a computer? So I want you to Google, keyword phrase, right? There, you see that, Bob? There you are. Wow, Lee, that's cool. You told me it was going to take X amount of time. I know. Been working at it really hard, Bob. I told you it was a ton of work for us, but we've been, we're here to help your business, and you're there. See, then you look like a genius. It's the same thing. It all took the same amount of time, same client, same money. By managing expectations correctly, on one hand, you look like a genius. On the other hand, you look like a crook. Okay, so that's that. If you don't take anything away from this, take away what I just told you about managing expectations, because that is huge. With search engine optimization, we want to set ourselves up to get paid month after month after month after month from happy clients who are happy to pay us to expand their businesses, to expand the real estate that they own online. And it won't happen if you mismanage expectations. The whole thing will backfire. That's what I wanted to tell you today, okay? I wanted to open your minds to businesses that I can guarantee you very few offliners approach, because they don't know how to approach them, but they're very easy to approach. You've got the SEO stuff that you bought. That, to my mind, right now is the best training out there on how to do this stuff. So you've got the expertise, or you can learn the expertise. Go out there, create some stuff, have proof, start talking to these businesses that nobody else talks to. Start making $2,000 to $3,000 per month sales. Get a few high-paying clients. You will have an awesome business. That's what I wanted to tell you today. Does anybody have any amazing questions that I can answer before we wrap it up? Chris, yes, I have recorded this. Yeah. Chris, I noticed you came in about halfway through. I've recorded this. I don't have the attendees for this webinar on a specific mailing list, and it is a bonus, although I might use it later on for something. But if you want to email me, I'm going to just put my email in the chat here with you. Actually, I'll just put it in the chat for everybody. Darn it. Hang on. If you guys want to get a, I'll just upload it to YouTube or something. But if you want to get that link so you can look at it, I'll just email that out to you. That would be the easy way to do this. So just send me an email. Remind me that you were on the webinar. Chris, I will probably remember anyway, but I've had an action-packed Monday, a good Monday, but there's been a ton of stuff happening. But just remind me, hey, Lee, I was on the webinar. You said you would be happy to send me the link to the replay. I'll be happy to do that. It'll take 2 or 3 hours for that to all transpire. Any other questions? Cool. Well, listen, that was excellent training that you guys bought. I hope that you take advantage of that, and I especially hope that you learn to sell SEO, because that's the high-ticket item right there. Well, once you learn to sell that and you get a few high-paying clients in your stable, you have an excellent business, and you're massively helping someone else with their business. You're making a lot of money, and you're getting a lot of personal gratification out of it. So cool beans. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later. And Chris, as soon as I download this and upload it, I will send that link to you.